Greetings, fellow learners. Welcome to IziCodeCraft. Let's turn our experiences into lessons. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the journey. So, in the last episode, we went through the last part of the computer basics lesson of the prerequisite section. We did the rest of the assignments and the knowledge check part. Today we are starting with the How Does the Web Work lesson. Before you can understand how to program the web, you need a more rigorous understanding of the web itself than you likely have now. These concepts provide a more holistic understanding of the ecosystem in which you will be working and will enable you to talk intelligently with other developers about your work. Lesson Overview. This section contains a general overview of topics that you will learn in this lesson. Describe what the Internet is. Describe what packets are and how they are used to transfer data. Understand the differences between a web page, web server, web browser, and search engine. Briefly explain what a client is. Briefly explain what a server is. Explain what IP addresses are. Explain what DNS servers are. So, I guess this lesson would follow on the last one. It seems we will grab some knowledge info from external resources. So, we have a comprehensive list of assignments here. Let's read them all up to get an overview. 1. Watch this BBC short for an overview of how the Internet works. 2. Read this Mozilla article on How Does the Internet Work? 3. Watch how the Internet works in 5 minutes. 4. Read up on the differences between a web page, a web server, and a search engine. 5. Watch this Google short explaining what a web browser is. Then, use this site to find out your current web browser and version. 6. Read about how different parts of the web interact with each other and read this MDN article about how a DNS request works. Alternatively, here is a video about how a DNS request works. Okay. And after all of that, we will have this long list of knowledge checks. So, I think I'm going to probably divide some of those assignments in different videos, cause I'm expecting those resources to have a lot of content. One thing I need to say is that when there are some videos to watch on these assignments, I usually watch them behind the scenes. I don't think it will add that much watching another video, but feel free to let me know in the comments section if you would like to see that here as well. Now, let's start with all of the other ones. Read this Mozilla article on How Does the Internet Work? So, how does the Internet work? The Internet is the backbone of the web, the technical infrastructure that makes the web possible. At its most basic, the Internet is a large network of computers which communicate all together. The history of the Internet is somewhat obscure. It began in the 60s as a U.S. Army-funded research project, then evolved into a public infrastructure in the 80s with the support of many public universities and private companies. The various technologies that support the Internet have evolved over time, but the way it works hasn't changed that much. Internet is a way to connect computers all together and ensure that, whatever happens, they find a way to stay connected. A simple network. When two computers need to communicate, you have to link them, either physically, usually with an Ethernet cable, or wirelessly, for example with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth systems. All modern computers can sustain any of those connections. It's important to understand the difference between physical, Ethernet, and wireless, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, connections, as each has its own use cases and limitations. Such a network is not limited to two computers. You can connect as many computers as you wish. But it gets complicated quickly. If you're trying to connect, say, 10 computers, you need 45 cables, with 9 plugs per computer. This example illustrates how quickly network complexity can escalate without proper management tools. To solve this problem, each computer on a network is connected to a special tiny computer called a router. This router has only one job. Like a signaler at a railway station, it makes sure that a message sent from a given computer arrives at the right destination computer. To send a message to computer B, computer A must send the message to the router, which in turn forwards the message to computer B and makes sure the message is not delivered to computer C. Once we add a router to the system, our network of 10 computers only requires 10 cables, a single plug for each computer and a router with 10 plugs. Understanding the role of routers is crucial, as they are fundamental to managing network traffic efficiently. A network of networks. So far so good. But what about connecting hundreds, thousands, billions of computers? Of course a single router can't scale that far, but if you read carefully, we said that a router is a computer like any other. So what keeps us from connecting two routers together? Nothing, so let's do that. Recognizing that routers can be interconnected helps in grasping how large-scale networks like the internet are built. By connecting computers to routers, then routers to routers, we are able to scale infinitely. Such a network comes very close to what we call the internet, but we're missing something. We built that network for our own purposes. There are other networks out there. Your friends, your neighbors, anyone can have their own network of computers. But it's not really possible to set cables up between your house and the rest of the world. So how can you handle this? Well, there are already cables linked to your house, for example, electric power and telephone. The telephone infrastructure already connects your house with anyone in the world, so it is the perfect wire we need. To connect our network to the telephone infrastructure, we need a special piece of equipment called a modem. This modem turns the information from our network into information manageable by the telephone infrastructure and vice versa. The modem is a key device that bridges your local network to the global internet. So we are connected to the telephone infrastructure. The next step is to send the messages from our network to the network we want to reach. To do that, we will connect our network to an Internet Service Provider, ISP. An ISP is a company that manages some special routers that are all linked together and can also access other ISPs' routers. So the message from our network is carried through the network of ISP networks to the destination network. The Internet consists of this whole infrastructure of networks. ISPs play a crucial role in facilitating access to the broader Internet by managing extensive networks of routers. Finding computers. If you want to send a message to a computer, you have to specify which one. Thus, any computer linked to a network has a unique address that identifies it, called an IP address, where IP stands for Internet Protocol. It's an address made of a series of 4 numbers separated by dots, for example, 192, 0, 2, 172. That's perfectly fine for computers, but we human beings have a hard time remembering that sort of address. To make things easier, we can alias an IP address with a human-readable name called a domain name. For example, at the time of writing, IP addresses can change. Google.com is the domain name used on top of the IP address 142, 250, 190, 78. So using the domain name is the easiest way for us to reach a computer over the Internet. Domain names simplify the process of navigating the Internet, making it more user-friendly. Internet and the web. As you might notice, when we browse the web with a web browser, we usually use the domain name to reach a website. Does that mean the Internet and the web are the same thing? It's not that simple. As we saw, the Internet is a technical infrastructure which allows billions of computers to be connected all together. Among those computers, some computers, called web servers, can send messages intelligible to web browsers. The Internet is an infrastructure, whereas the web is a service built on top of the infrastructure. It is worth noting there are several other services built on top of the Internet, such as email and IRC. It's essential to differentiate between the Internet, the infrastructure, and the web, a service on the infrastructure. Intranets and extranets. Intranets are private networks that are restricted to members of a particular organization. They are commonly used to provide a portal for members to securely access shared resources, collaborate, and communicate. For example, an organization's intranet might host web pages for sharing department or team information, shared drives for managing key documents and files, portals for performing business administration tasks, and collaboration tools like wikis, discussion boards, and messaging systems. Intranets are valuable for internal communication and resource sharing within organizations. Extranets are very similar to intranets, except they open all or part of a private network to allow sharing and collaboration with other organizations. They are typically used to safely and securely share information with clients and stakeholders who work closely with a business. Often their functions are similar to those provided by an intranet: information and file sharing, collaboration tools, discussion boards, etc. Both intranets and extranets run on the same kind of infrastructure as the Internet, and use the same protocols. They can therefore be accessed by authorized members from different physical locations. Extranets facilitate secure collaboration with external partners, expanding the utility of intranet-like networks. And the next one is, read up on the differences between a web page, a web server, and a search engine. So, what is the difference between web page, website, web server, and search engine? In this article, we describe various web-related concepts: web pages, websites, web servers, and search engines. These terms are often confused by newcomers to the web or are incorrectly used. Let's learn what they each mean. As with any area of knowledge, the web comes with a lot of jargon. Don't worry. We won't overwhelm you with all of it. We have a glossary if you're curious. However, there are a few basic terms you need to understand at the outset since you'll hear these expressions all the time as you read on. It's easy to mix these terms since they refer to related but different functionalities. You'll sometimes see these terms misused in news reports and elsewhere, so getting them mixed up is understandable. We'll cover these terms and technologies in more detail as we explore further, but these quick definitions will be a great start for you. Understanding these basic terms will help you avoid common misconceptions and communicate more effectively about web technologies. Web page, a document which can be displayed in a web browser such as Firefox, Google Chrome, Opera, Microsoft Edge, or Apple Safari. These are also often called just pages. Website, a collection of web pages which are grouped together and usually connected together in various ways. Often called a website or a site. Web server, a computer that hosts a website on the internet. Recognizing the distinct roles of web pages, websites, web servers, and search engines is crucial for understanding how the web operates. Search engine, a web service that helps you find other web pages, such as Google, Bing, Yahoo, or DuckDuckGo. Search engines are normally accessed through a web browser. You can perform search engine searches directly in the address bar of Firefox, Chrome, etc., or through a web page like Bing.com or DuckDuckGo.com. Let's look at a simple analogy: a public library. This is what you would generally do when visiting a library. First, find a search index and look for the title of the book you want. Second, make a note of the catalog number of the book. Third, go to the particular section containing the book, find the right catalog number, and get the book. Analogies can be helpful in understanding abstract concepts by relating them to familiar experiences. Let's compare the library with a web server. The library is like a web server. It has several sections, which is similar to a web server hosting multiple websites. The different sections, science, math, history, etc. in the library are like websites. Each section is like a unique website. Two sections do not contain the same books. The books in each section are like web pages. One website may have several web pages. The science section, the website, will have books on heat, sound, thermodynamics, statics, etc., the web pages. Web pages can each be found at a unique location, the URL. The search index is like the search engine. Each book has its own unique location in the library. Two books cannot be kept at the same place, which is specified by the catalog number. This analogy simplifies the relationships between web servers, websites, web pages, and search engines. Web page. A web page is a simple document displayable by a browser. Such documents are written in the HTML language, which we look into in more detail in other articles. A web page can embed a variety of different types of resources such as style information, controlling a page's look and feel, scripts, which add interactivity to the page, media, images, sounds, and videos. Understanding the basic structure and elements of a web page is essential for web development. All web pages available on the web are reachable through a unique address. To access a page, just type its address in your browser address bar, like this. Website. A website is a collection of linked web pages, plus their associated resources, that share a unique domain name. Each web page of a given website provides explicit links, most of the time in the form of clickable portions of text, that allow the user to move from one page of the website to another. To access a website, type its domain name in your browser address bar, and the browser will display the website's main web page, or homepage, casually referred as the home. Websites organize multiple web pages under a common domain, providing a structured user experience. Note that it is also possible to have a single-page website, a site that consists of a single web page which is dynamically updated with new content when needed. Single-page websites are increasingly popular for their simplicity and dynamic content delivery. Web server. A web server is a computer hosting one or more websites. Hosting means that all the web pages and their supporting files are available on that computer. The web server will send any web page from the website it is hosting to any user's browser, per user request. Don't confuse websites and web servers. For example, if you hear someone say, "My website is not responding," it actually means that the web server is not responding and therefore the website is not available. More importantly, since a web server can host multiple websites, the term web server is never used to designate a website, as it could cause great confusion. In our previous example, if we said, "My web server is not responding," it means that multiple websites on that web server are not available. Differentiating between a web server and a website helps avoid confusion, especially in troubleshooting scenarios.
Search engine.
Search engines are a common source of confusion on the web. A search engine is a special kind of website that helps users find web pages from other websites. There are plenty out there: Google, Bing, Yandex, DuckDuckGo, and many more. Some are generic, some are specialized about certain topics. Use whichever you prefer. Many beginners on the web confuse search engines and browsers. Let's make it clear. A browser is a piece of software that retrieves and displays web pages. A search engine is a website that helps people find web pages from other websites. The confusion arises because, the first time someone launches a browser, the browser displays a search engine's homepage. This makes sense, because, obviously, the first thing you want to do with a browser is to find a web page to display. Don't confuse the infrastructure, the browser, with the service, the search engine. The distinction will help you quite a bit, but even some professionals speak loosely, so don't feel anxious about it. Clarifying the roles of browsers and search engines can significantly improve your understanding of how to navigate the web effectively. Here is an instance of Firefox showing a Google search box as its default startup page. So, that's it for this lesson episode. I think, in summary, learning about web pages, websites, web servers, and search engines provides essential insights into how information is organized, accessed, and shared on the internet. Mastering these basics enhances your ability to navigate and utilize online resources effectively, whether for personal use or professional development in today's digital world. We will continue on this lesson assignments and the knowledge check in the next episode. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this.